Greetings, COM 705. This is Ben Frazier. Just wanted to greet you this week. Say we're almost halfway through. This is sort of the halfway through. Next week, as you know, is modular week, and we don't have any assignments next week. You have off, so I suggest you, if you need it, relax and rest. If you have energy, then I would say, and you're behind, catch up. If you have the time, then get ahead and start your reading of Craig and Mueller and get going on that. But the most important thing probably for you to do is to really work hard on your paper and get a good head start on that. So next week you have off, and I have off as well. I will be out of contact for the week, working on a book that I'm writing. So I did read over this week your responses to the question I asked on Berger and Luckman. Really enjoyed your responses. You really got into the heart of some of the things and reasons that I assigned that book. As you know, that book is published in 1966 or 67, so it's a bit dated, but nevertheless, it's a benchmark study of a work that you really need to be aware of, and a whole trend of more of the constructionist approach to communication. And even though they're sociologists writing in a sister field with us, they have made a large impact on our field, and a lot of other studies have come out of that or have a lot to do with that same kind of constructionist approach. I won't try to go over all the questions you asked, but I would just like to take a minute to just say, why did I assign that? And one of the reasons is because it's a major thread in our field that you need to be aware of. But two, I think they have much to say to the church. By the way, Berger is a Christian, and I think he's a Lutheran. I don't know if he's conservative or evangelical or something else, but he's believes in God and is a Christian. So so this is not coming from outer space somewhere. It's really coming from someone who is open to the work of God and the purpose of God in our world. Nevertheless, he's trying to show how language is constrained and formed, and what influence it has, and how we grasp reality. So it's not that he doesn't believe reality doesn't exist somewhere and it only exists in our minds somehow, but what he's trying to say is that for us to understand reality, to think about reality, and to speak about reality, we always do so in ways that are constrained by time and place, by history and where it is in where we are and where we live and what we know and how science is developed and how understanding is developed and how knowledge is developed. All those things influence us as we learn to speak and talk and communicate. So when we try to understand what is the real, it sort of is, what are the dimensions of reality that we're talking about? Are we talking about something that's concrete and here, now, and in place and time, like this book, for instance? Well, how real is this? Or are there other dimensions to the world that we sometimes miss and that we sometimes know? Example of that would be when C.S. Lewis, as you know, was a medievalist scholar. He studied the Middle Ages. And the people in the Middle Ages understood stars to be silver. And that when they looked at the stars, they didn't see that word in the same way you and I see it today. And it may be that in 200 or 300 years from now, that people will look back at our time and not see things the same way that other people see them. So words are never the things themselves. They always constrain and limit our understanding and our speaking, not only by our own human limits to understanding, but by the culture and by the history and by the place in which we know and understand them. And so when we speak of things, particularly things of religion like transcendence or God or Christ or those things, we know only in part. We don't know the full. And those things and we know given who we are and what our views are at a particular point in time. That doesn't mean our knowledge is all wrong. That means it is constrained and partial. And so I think they do a good job in reminding us about that. So when we speak of what is real, when we speak of what is eternal, we can only do that partially. We need a lot more humility in how we approach that and how we understand that. At any rate, a great discussion. I'm really pleased with what you're doing. Remember that we have off next week, and I did put some questions up for you to begin to help you understand the readings for this week. Hope you do well. God bless you. Bye-bye.